Ralph the Movie Maker is a channel run by Ralph Seppi Jr. He's an award-winning director and he reviews movies. I've been subscribed to him for over a year now. He has 430,000 subscribers, so it's safe to say this is the biggest channel I've reviewed so far, and therefore the biggest I can exploit for views and subscribers. Most people only watch his reviews. I think they're extremely funny and well put together, but like I said before, Ralph is an award-winning director and he's made some short films. I'm going to look at two of these. This film was made in 2015. It's apparently based on a true story. Is it based on a true story the same way that Captain Phillips is a true story? Or how a film like The Conjuring is supposedly a true story? It's been used so many times in movies, so it's hard to tell if it's a gimmick or not. I'm sure that this isn't a true story, but if Ralph ever watches this, he could be sure to let me know. Straight away the credits start. This is a great opening scene, and I'm sure Ralph got inspired by Enter the Void. The music is also great. The camera does slowly move down the hall in between the text, and straight away you know who the main character is. Having the main character talking to the camera and narration can be seen as an easy or lazy way to get exposition to the audience, but I don't mind it, because in the context of the story it works. Glenn is a member of a club. In this club you can earn points by doing good deeds. Glenn chooses that his good deed is to sell chocolate and sweets, or candy as they say in America, and give the money that he makes to charity. Then one day a girl he likes asks to borrow $1, and because Glenn wants to get laid, he gives her the $1. He goes to the club, gives them the money. This is when he realises that the club doesn't actually count the money, and over the next week he proceeds to take some money out of the charity bag to buy drinks and a Subway sandwich. This is when the movie gets really interesting and really good. He decides to sell candy and keep the money for himself, only giving what he needs to give to the club, and telling all the people that buy the candy that he runs a charity to help starving kids in Africa, when he doesn't actually help them at all. Is Glenn's character an arsehole? Yes. He wants to make money and he manipulates people around him to get it, so then he decides to take it to the next level. He goes on local radio and starts telling people about his charity. He talks to other students about his charity and how they can help, and he's lying about the stuff that they do, like building houses, building water pipes, and giving books to the children, but the character is still likeable, and this is because of Ralph. Ralph is an excellent actor and he plays Glenn really well. He's also great at directing actors. No one's performance is cringeworthy, even his younger brother, I believe his name is Michael, is really good. Child actors are the worst in professional Hollywood movies, but somehow Ralph can make Michael act really well. Okay, so back to the story. Glenn decides to give his new recruitment an incentive. 50 cents for every piece of candy they sell goes into their pockets, and the rest goes to Glenn. This is really good because it actually reflects how charities work in the real world. If you really think that charities give all the money to the people that they're helping, then you're wrong. Lots of money you donate goes to the CEO of that charity, the workers of that charity. Probably 50% of what we donate doesn't go to the people we want to help. It goes to the charity. And it's hard to say that Glenn is worse, because he did give money to charity each week for his club, and then he actually had to donate to charity to make his new club look legitimate to the public. Then we're introduced to Nick. He doesn't like what Glenn is doing, and he thinks all the money should go to charity. And we as the audience should like that. In any other film, Nick would be the good guy, but the way he's presented makes us think he's an arsehole. Again, that's because of the way that Ralph has directed the story and directs himself to make Glenn such a likeable character. Like Loki, he's a villain, we should all hate him, but the way Tom Hiddleston plays him makes him likeable. Another example is Gary King. He's an idiot that doesn't really care about anything other than beer and a golden mile, but Simon Pegg and the director Edgar Wright make the character likeable. Glenn agrees to do an interview with a girl he likes, I think for the school newspaper. He asks her out on a date, but Nick also likes the same girl. Nick, being the arsehole that he is, goes to the hall monitor, and this allows for us to enjoy the best character introduction in the movie.
I am a fucking hall monitor.
But Glenn easily pays off the hall monitor to keep his charity scam a secret. People in the club start to lose respect for Glenn, but instead of actually giving money to charity, he partners with a gang called the Vultures to intimidate the club members. Now we move on to Glenn's date. He gets her a gift, which is obviously expensive. He plays music, blah blah blah. Ralph and the girl that plays Heather, I can't remember her name. I think her name's Heather. Is it Heather? Hold on, give me a second. Ralph, Alexandra, Ian Goodman, Michael, Charlie. Is her name Heather? I think it is Heather. I'm not really sure. I'm sure it's Heather. Ralph and the girl that plays Heather, I don't know her name, have just the right amount of awkwardness to make their date believable. Then there's a montage of the vultures and Glenn beating up club members. At first it was mirroring a charity, but now it's mirroring a drug cartel, and Glenn is the kingpin. Tim, played by Michael Seppi, gives the money he owes to Glenn, and Glenn invites him inside for a drink. Tim decides to confront Glenn about what he's been doing, and Glenn warns Tim not to say anything. The vultures are arrested in a cool sequence that's just music and visuals. At this point Glenn has lost his emotion, he's having the same character arc as Walter White. He needs money, he wants power in his own business, and he starts being an arsehole to his girlfriend. Tim then goes to Glenn and asks for a notebook with all the profit numbers in it, so this makes Glenn suspicious. He interrogates Tim and he is pissed off. This is a tense scene and it's edited perfectly. Glenn tells Tim not to talk to Nick again and he threatens to hurt him. Then Heather finds the profit book and goes to tell Glenn that he's an arsehole. This is another excellent scene. If you thought that Ralph was a good actor before, this scene definitely proves he's talented. He's genuinely intimidating.
I did it because I love you. I did everything because I love you. Apparently, that love is mutual, because all you do is ignore me and whine and complain until I buy you more shit!
I think that's all I want. You want the sex so much.
Shut up! I don't have to hear your shit in my own house! Get the fuck out!
Glenn makes Nick get into his car at gunpoint, takes him home and then beats up Nick. Tim tries to shoot Glenn but the gun is fake. Glenn is then investigated by the school. Sorry, it is raining heavily if you can hear that. Maybe if I just close the curtains, maybe that will help with some of the sound. Because the sound quality is admittedly, what the fuck, that is a massive fucking spider. Let me just get the Hoover out. Gonna murder the thing. Hopefully the spider is dead now. I killed it with a Hoover. So Glenn is investigated by the school and Nick. Glenn doesn't like this. The school finds Glenn's profit book. Of course it's a fake book. This is because Glenn is smarter than Nick or the school. Of course the hall monitor was helping Glenn the whole time because he was being paid off. Heather lies about Nick being aggressive by faking an injury. Every member of the club lies in order to please Glenn. Glenn has gotten away with this whole scam and he doesn't care. The film ends with a nice monologue about the fact that Glenn has actually made something of himself. This was a great movie. The acting was great, especially Ralph. The editing was also great. He uses the editing to be funny, to be scary, and to be tense. The pacing of the film was good. I'm sure if I went through the movie I could cut out about 1 minute of the film. There are so many creative shots, the type of shots that are used are all mixed. The camera isn't always clamped down by a tripod. It's not just a wide, and then a medium close-up, then a regular close-up, then another wide. No, the camera moves around. There's this cool shot where the camera just flips 180 degrees. That's so much more interesting than a straight pan right to left. There's just enough good jokes to make you laugh every once in a while. The music fit well with every scene, and I'm not just saying this because Ralph is one of my favourite YouTube creators, but because this is actually quite a good film. It isn't too long, it's about 46 minutes, and not 1 minute of the film is boring at all. There may not be much special effects, but the story compensates for that. I don't know if this film won an award or not. There are a few things to nitpick, like how the school doesn't contact his parents when he's investigated, and we never see his parents. But I only noticed these after I sat down and really thought about what was wrong with it. Even Ralph has criticised it. He says in his Age of Ultron review that he sometimes used music to hide too complex sound design. Does it take away from the movie? Not really, but you can also think of it as a style choice. This is a good film considering it isn't made by Hollywood. If you want a rating, I'd say 8 out of 10.